In Midgard, I used my power to force Sigrid into marriage, tearing him away from his beloved. After death, he ascended as the Arbiter of Helheim, imprisoning and torturing me. For 100 years, he made sure every soul in Helheim knew I was his wife. Then, upon finding his dead childhood companion, he drove dozens of hell-forged spikes into my body. He declared my heart was vile, my hands stained with the lives of the innocent, and he flooded my soul with darkness. Then, before every watching eye, he gave me 2 choices: remain and become his companion's servant as penance, or enter the Hall of Anguish as a corrupted soul, to suffer endlessly and be reborn into servitude across every life, never to know a good death. He knew I feared pain, feared suffering, but even if I had to endure every torment, even if my next life would know no peace, I could not bear to remain at his side one moment longer. After 100 years imprisoned beside Sigrid, I was finally released from that lightless dungeon. When the iron chains fell from my pierced collarbones, I thought I would feel lighter. Instead, all I felt was the dense, crushing wave of pain across my shoulders. Seeing me hesitate, a death guard shoved me hard from behind.
My lord summons you to the wandering city. Move! Don't make me late for my drink.
His expression was stone cold. He had no fear that I would disobey, because Sigrid had placed a curse on me. From the moment I entered Helheim, I was every soul's dog, summoned, dismissed, forbidden to resist. Now, I lowered my eyes, swallowed the pain, and walked out of the Arbiter's Hall. The moment I entered the city, a force seized me and wrenched me down. I crashed hard to the ground. The wounds on my shoulders tore open, another bloom of blood and rot. Soren, standing at Sigrid's side, let a flash of pleasure cross her eyes. Then she twisted her face into fear and reddened her eyes.
Sigrid, what did I ever do to make Rowan hate me so much that she would sever my limbs and have me tortured to death?
The moment she spoke, Sigrid's gaze turned to ice.
Don't be afraid. I'll make her pay.
He never merely said things. The moment the words left his lips, he drove dozens of hell-forged spikes into my forelimbs. The agony hit like a collapsing sky. I couldn't hold back my scream.
Every wound Soren bore, I will return to you 100-fold. Rowan's heart is rotten. She has taken lives without mercy. Her crimes are unforgivable.
Under Soren's cues, the crowd began to point and condemn.
A woman like her deserves to be cast into the deepest abyss of Niflheim, never to be reborn.
Hearing their words, Sigrid poured more darkness into my soul, his voice cold as iron.
I give you 2 choices. Either remain and serve Sorda in penance, or enter the Hall of Anguish as a corrupted soul, be reborn into slavery across every life, and never know a good death.
The pain was so absolute, I couldn't form a single word.
Of course. You're too selfish, too cowardly. Why would you ever choose the cycle of Yggdrasil?
He turned and took Soren's hand.
Let's go. We have a wedding to plan.
He knew I feared pain, feared suffering. He didn't believe I would choose rebirth, and so he went off cheerfully to plan his wedding. What he didn't know was that the moment I was released from the dungeon, I had already gone to the Hall of Anguish to register for the cycle of Yggdrasil. Even if I had to endure every torment, even if my next life would know no peace, I could not bear to remain at his side one moment longer. By now, every soul in Helheim knew the story. In Midgard, I had used my power to force Sigrid into marrying me. I had murdered his aging mother. I had ordered Soren's limbs severed and left her to be tortured. He had hated me with everything he had. In Midgard, he endured it all in silence, and in the 10th year of our marriage, he slaughtered the entire Rowan clan, dozens of lives, and then killed me. He was the Arbiter of Helheim, the High Valkyrie. Because of his hatred for me, he kept me imprisoned at his side for a century and subjected me to every torment he could devise. But what he didn't know was that he had hated the wrong woman. I had never killed his mother. I had never touched Soren. For the first 10 years of my imprisonment, I never stopped trying to explain. It wasn't me, but Sigrid would grab me by the throat, eyes blazing red, and scream,
I only believe what I saw with my own eyes.
Time wore me down. I went numb. I stopped explaining. Now he told every soul it was I who had taken him by force and compelled him into marriage. He had forgotten. The year we first met, he was huddled among beggars, and he took the bowl of porridge I extended to him, and he looked up at me. That young man had gazed at me with something pure and shy in his eyes.
My lady, do you need a guard? I'll work for a meal.
It was a time of war and chaos. My heart had gone soft. I brought him home. I had people care for his ailing mother and younger brother. Years passed. He stood in front of me, unyielding when danger came. Then came the day the royal house called for concerts. He grabbed my hand with reddened eyes and pleaded,
Don't go. I'll work until I'm worthy of you. Can't you just consider me?
I had no desire to marry some prince, and he had moved me just a little. So I said yes. He said he loved me. He said he would give himself fully and would not waver for a lifetime. After we wed, he gave me everything. He was tireless, devoted, always striving. 10 years passed. We were bound without doubt or shadow. Then came the moment he raised a bow and put an arrow through my chest, and I finally understood he had never loved me at all. Now he looked at my wretched figure with not a single flicker of emotion in his eyes.
In 7 days, Sorda and I will be wed. Right now I need to take her to be fitted for wedding robes. Crawl back on your own and prepare to begin your penance.
With that, he left with Soren. The onlookers needed no invitation. The sneering words came fast.
She entered Helheim and immediately called herself his wife. I almost believed they were devoted to each other. Turns out he only kept her around to let his beloved vent her anger.
They laughed. They sneered. I did not raise my head. I used every last fragment of strength to drag myself forward. Blood trailed in thin streaks across the road. I ignored the pain consuming my body and crawled, truly crawled, back to the Arbiter's hall. When I finally looked up, I did not know how much time had passed. Sigrid and Soren returned to find me at the gates, drenched in blood. Soren let out a sharp cry and rushed over, pulling me upright.
Rowan, why are you covered in blood like this?
She asked, though she already knew. The delight behind her eyes was unmistakable. My stomach turned. I tried to pull my hand free. Soren crumpled straight to the ground. Sigrid's eyes went wide with fury.
Soren!
He caught her immediately. When he saw she had fainted, his expression darkened. Without pause, he blasted me away. I was hurled a dozen meters and slammed into a wall. I couldn't stop the blood that came up with the impact. The pain in my body doubled. I clenched my fist against it. Out of the corner of my eye, I watched Sigrid carry Soren on his back and leave swiftly, pausing only to give a cold order.
Throw Rowan into the chasm of Nigdag. Let her learn her place. I won't have her forgetting what she is.
He didn't hesitate for a single breath before concluding it was I who had harmed Soren. He never once asked, what could I, a hollowed-out soul, have even done? I said nothing. I did not call after him. I simply let the death guards drag me away. Because I already knew Sigrid would never believe me. The pain was overwhelming. I couldn't stop my eyes from closing.